About 2 weeks ago, I bought my Presto Precise Electric Canner. I did it for a couple of different reasons. One, I need to be able to multitask. In what I'm doing now on YouTube, I often have multiple projects going at a time. So it's not like I need to do more, and I needed a larger canner than my small All-American canner. What I needed was a separate one because things have different times and different needs. And I did not want another stovetop canner because then I run out of room to be cooking whatever's going in the next batch. So electric canner it was for me. So I took a look on Amazon and I looked at several of them, and there are some very good electric canners out there. The reason I chose this one is because I needed as much space as I could get. I needed to be able to process as many jars at a time as I could. And this was the largest one that I could find at the time. So this is the one I got. There are others that have absolutely wonderful reviews as well. So it's not the only one you could do. However, it is the one I have. So I have now used it many times. Let me tell you what I've done in here. I've done, in the past 2 weeks, 2 batches of turkey broth, 1 batch of cooked turkey, 1 batch of hummus, 2 batches of cranberry chutney, 1 batch of cranberry sauce, 3 batches of potatoes, and 1 batch of pecan pie filling. So I feel like I've used it enough. In fact, I've pretty much kept it solidly busy. It's been out of my kitchen counter every day for 2 weeks. So I have kept it very busy, and I now know exactly how I feel about it. I know what I like, what I don't like, and I'm going to share all of that with you today. I'm also going to take you through a full pressure canning cycle with it. I have done clips in one of the things I canned. So I will show you that today too. So let's get to that part, and then we'll come back and I'll talk to you about the things that I like and that I don't like, and whether or not I would suggest you take a look at it. All right, so the canner beeped when the jars were warm and told me to fill the jars. So I've done that, and I've put the jars back in. So I'm going to push that, and then I'm going to put the lid on. You want to check this seal every time because it can get a little loose in there, and then the lid doesn't fit on properly. So just check that. Then we'll put this on, turn it. This is our locking mechanism. Put that down, slide it under, and now it's locked. And you can see that it's heating. So the canner is heating up now, and it's going to keep heating, and then it'll start venting. It'll beep to tell me it's venting. It'll vent for 10 minutes, and then it'll beep again and tell me to come put the regulator on, which I will do. I'll put it right up here. Okay, so now you can see this has just changed to vent, and it started its own timer for 10 minutes of venting. So it's going to vent for 10 minutes, and it's going to count itself down, and then it's going to beep and say, put the regulator on. And that's what we're going to come back and do, and then it's off and running. Okay, that's the beep. Tells me it is I'm to put the regulator on, and then it's ready to start canning. Here's the regulator. I'm going to put this right on here. Right there in the center. And I'm going to push the button to show I've done it. All right, listen to the sound. Keep listening. Wait for it. It's coming, I promise. Boom. That's it. No more noise. Literally, you can hear it boiling, but that's it. No more noise until it beeps to tell me it's done. There's none of the rattling, none of the sputtering that comes out of the All-American canner. That's it. No more noise. You gotta love that. Okay, it's done processing for 75 minutes. Now it's switched to cooling off, or it can take a long time for it to cool off. Even in the instructions it says up to an hour and a half, whereas I usually leave my All-American canner for 30 to 45 minutes, and then it's depressurized and ready to go. This one does take a long time, so if you're trying to process 3 batches very quickly, it can be a little frustrating in that regard. However, it does it all on its own, so it's still hard to argue with that. So we'll come back when this is done, and we'll take everything apart. You'll see that this will drop down when it is finished cooling. So I'm going to time this. Right now it is 3:50 my time. So we'll see what time it is when it beeps to tell me it's done cooling. All right, the pressure canner is done. It took, let's see, it is 5 o'clock now, exactly an hour and 10 minutes for it to cool down. And the instructions say that depends on the canner load. So I have 6 pint jars in here. Okay, we're going to make sure everything is vented. And then I'm just going to unlock this. Oops, I have to take this out. And just let a little bit of steam out. I'm not going to take the lid off right away because there is liquid in these and I don't want any spewing. So this is the inside of the Presto Electric Canner. 6 jars in there. It can hold 8 of these comfortably. Okay, we're starting to get some pops. That's 2. Okay, let's get these out of the canner. So a couple of things I've learned along the way. The first one I had to learn twice, and that is that you always start with the regulator off. It doesn't look like it should come off, and quite frankly, it's a little iffy to pull off, and I thought, oh my goodness, that can't be right. But that is right. You always start with that off. I had to learn that twice. If you're gonna water bath can, it stays off the entire time. If you're pressure canning, the machine will tell you when to put it back on. So always start with it off. Okay, the second thing about this machine is that it doesn't necessarily understand raw pack canning or cold pack canning. So typically, as you saw in the little video clips, how this works is that you put your empty jars in, it will warm them, it'll beep when it tells you that they are warm enough and ready to fill, and then you fill them up. So if you are raw pack canning or cold pack canning, whatever you want to call it, you don't necessarily want to put your cold food into the hot jars and then into the hot water. So what I do is I raw pack straight into my cold jars, and then I put them in, and then I start it and let it start to warm them up. And so when it tells me that it's time to fill the jars, I just hit the done button, and it knows that I have filled the jars now, and it can start bringing up the heat and coming up to pressure. So that, you know, once I kind of got past the frustration that it wouldn't let me do it the way I thought I should do it, you know, it's not a problem at all. So the other thing I will say is that this little guy, this is the latch that closes it. Not only do you have to turn it, but you have to do this. One of those things I had to learn multiple times also. Like, why won't it come off? Anyway, all you have to do is turn the latch. Pretty silly, huh? So as I mentioned in the video, the thing I like best, well, no, there are 2 things. There are 2 things that I really and truly like best about this. And they are the 2 reasons that I would highly recommend an electric canner, particularly this one, because I haven't tried the others, but the others may have the exact same benefits. One is that you can just put it on autopilot. I can be back here, I can be canning something else, I can be preparing another batch. I don't have to have 3 or 4 timers set. This one does all its timing. It beeps when I'm supposed to do something, and it's just, okay, fine, what do I need to do? And you read the front, and it tells you what you need to do. That just couldn't be any easier. And the other thing, as you saw in the clip, is that it is ridiculously quiet. You hear it after that initial, you know, build up of a little bit of pressure in there, which takes, I don't know, you saw it live, so 30 seconds or so. It's so quiet. You can hear, you know, you can hear the water boiling. but that's about it. There's none of the shake, rattle, and roll and spewing and fizzing and, you know, my husband, our family room is right on the other side of you. And so my husband likes to sit there and watch the news or football or whatever it is. And if I'm canning, every time the canner makes a noise, the TV volume goes up. And then the canner makes another noise and the TV volume goes up. And it's like, oh my gosh. So anyway, with this, he does not feel the need to crank the TV volume, and that is a blessing for all of us. So anyway, I hope that you have gotten something out of this review. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I am a diehard All-American fan, and I will never not use my All-American, even though it causes my husband to raise the volume on the TV. I absolutely love it. But this, I love this one too. So I'm very happy to have the option to use either. This one obviously I can't use if the power goes out, while I can still, you know, light the gas stove, and can that one if I'm, you know, trying to get stuff out of my freezer and onto the pantry shelf so it stays safe. But this to me was an excellent investment. And if you're interested in an electric canner, either as your primary canner or as a secondary canner, I think this is a great one. So thank you so much for being here. Again, I'll be in the comments, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.